Give me a mic check over there.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Give me a Sarah laugh. Okay.
I don't know. I'll try and keep my laughs within that parameter.
Well, this should be an interesting experiment.
Now they're all going to see the yawns. I have to try and hide
That's okay.
from the microphone.
We
now
can
I gotta
still
try and
cut.
hide it from the...
We can still cut those out. I feel like. I'll tell you what, though, this computer chair just continues to lay further and further back.
I hate sitting in it.
Oh, and it messes my neck up. I shouldn't have bought the one that was on sale, apparently.
Because you're like...
Yeah, right.
Having to hold your neck up.
Exactly. It's like you're, trying to do an oil change on the 4Runner or something.
Or crunches.
Yeah. Well, hello to our YouTube viewers.
If the video goes...
If it goes well. If the footage is approved by yours truly over here.
Well, only because, like, I'm so used to, like, coming to this at the end of the day. Like, I usually even actually have my glasses on.
Yeah.
Because I've already washed my makeup off and put all my creams and lotions on.
Right.
Like, and then Kev was like, "Hey, how about I film it?" I'm like, "How about we don't?"
I just think it's a good time. I think it's a good time to have lots of different options for people to watch it and see what we're all about.
Well, they get to see me in all of my
All your glory.
night cream glories.
You don't need it anyhow.
Yes, I do. I'm almost 32. It's time to start helping what I can help.
Yeah, I need it. That's for sure. I like how you look at me that way.
What?
I'm like, yep, you sure do. Hey, at least the haircut you gave me today made a big difference.
Yeah, I bet your headphones fit nicely, huh?
They do, and all of my new hats and stuff are fitting pretty good too. So
Good.
yeah, you did a good job.
It's a little short, sorry, but
It's way short, but I'll take it.
It's your summertime haircut. We'll just
that's it.
We'll let that grow for the next 2 weeks of quarantine, and
it's like who's
there.
going to see me anyhow?
Well, now that your face is on Instagram, people are going to see it.
This is true. Oh, geez, it's been crazy.
Yeah, so we'll just address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you guys know what's going down right now.
The quarantine of 2020.
The quarantine, and the pandemic, and it's quite incredible. And, our hearts just go out to all those who have lost their jobs, their retirement. I mean, we're only beginning to see the outcome of this whole situation.
Yeah.
And it really hit home yesterday when, I'm getting phone calls and texts from people. And
from friends
who are, losing their jobs already.
Right.
And businesses having to make really hard decisions. And that's the other piece of this, not to mention the fact that, over 20,000 people have died worldwide from this. And that's just what's reported.
Right.
And that's just what's confirmed. It could be more than that. So it's quite a harrowing experience for all of us. And it's a unique experience just because of the fact that it's so worldwide.
Yeah.
In a way, it seems like it definitely brings us closer as a world and realize that, hey,
it's a little smaller than we thought it was.
It's a little smaller than we thought it was. And people are people no matter what country they're in.
Right.
And, yeah, it's definitely been quite the experience, and we're still working through all that right now. But I just want to take a second and say thank you to all those who are out there on the front lines fighting, trying to save lives, trying to reduce the spread. Thank you to all the people who've decided to stay home.
Right.
And, be responsible. I know it's with the limited information that we have, sometimes it seems a bit weird and you just kind of want to get out for your little 2-week vacation or whatever, but I think as the numbers come in, we're seeing that this is far more serious than it was first anticipated to be. So,
right.
But yeah, thank you guys for what you do. Your first responders and your nurses, the doctors, and the people driving the trucks, getting the food to the grocery stores.
Yeah.
From top
grocery
to bottom.
Store workers.
Exactly, all those people who are just allowing us to all go home and sit through this right now.
Yeah.
So all that to say, we also need to encourage people to be very mindful of their movements, of their travel plans. We were planning on going to Moab just
Right.
we would have been in Moab right
now. Or leaving.
Yeah.
This would have been our last day.
And made the hard decision just based off of the information to pull the plug on that whole thing. And it's a good thing that we did, because they basically shut down Moab just a few days after that.
Right.
But yeah, I put out a video on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet, just things to consider and what your impact could be if you did decide, to head to the hills, so to speak,
Right.
and attempt to escape this. It could have some devastating effects both to you and your family and potentially the communities that you travel through on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely be very cognizant of what that could do to people.
Right.
So anyhow, enough of the downer.
Not the downer. It's just the reality.
It's just the reality.
Just address it real quick.
Exactly. And I don't want to downplay it, but I know you guys you're just inundated with so much information constantly. And so there we go. That's what we wanted to say about it. So what have you been doing since all this stuff went down?
Well, today was my first day in an official week that I've left the house, and that was just to go to the post office to pick up a package.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to get our 20-pound propane tank switched out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But basically, I've just been at home, and I've been homeschooling Caroline, and just kind of working on those little things that I kept wanting to do, but just haven't had the time to, like, clean my makeup brushes. Finally clean the bathroom.
Right.
So basically I've just been doing all the things that feel good to me right now.
Yeah.
And that's taking care of you all, taking care of myself by walking, by doing yoga, exercising, whatever. Yeah, just basically doing whatever feels good to me at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a strange feeling. I mean, I've been doing my best to edit as many videos as I can. I mean, I have so many video ideas in my spreadsheet that I hope this doesn't happen, but if I was to sit here for 6 months, I could literally make videos for the next 6 months, just with the ideas that I have and some of the content that I already have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also very difficult to be creative in this space as well. When you're so occupied with everything that's going on, and as you hear more and more people that being impacted by it, it does make it difficult to operate. And then we've just condensed 3 lives back into one home. So whereas, you would be at school for cosmetology, Caroline would be at school for 4 days a week. Yep. I would have, a nice window to, like, really, work on some content. And so the little micro interruptions and stuff during the day make it difficult. And I know everyone out there in the world is dealing with that right now. And just, the kind of the stir craziness that comes from being inside. But really the biggest thing for us that's helped is just to get outside.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's helped.
Yeah, and it sneaks up on you and you realize, wait a minute, I'm a little too upset over this minor thing. So,
because it could be as severe as you can't leave your house.
True.
Like it is in some places.
Well, and just depending on where you're located. If you're in a city and if you're in an apartment, like, you might not have any options to get outside.
Yeah.
And
we live in the middle of 2 alfalfa fields, so
we're probably in one of the best places. It's basically like we're camping in the middle of nowhere anyhow.
Yeah.
We just have running water and
hot showers,
shower and roof over our
internet
head right now. So, well, barely internet.
It's good enough for the most part for Netflix.
But yeah.
Disney Plus is on the struggle train.
Pretty much.
But whatever.
So what have we been watching?
Well, on Disney Plus we started The Mandalorian.
Dude, that's pretty good.
It's really good. I just wish it wouldn't stop every 10 minutes.
They don't have their buffer thing figured out like what Netflix does.
Yeah, where it can continue to play and buffer. But basically just that as a family. Mm-hmm. And then we're not watching anything new.
Yeah, but we are pounding some Sam the Cooking Guy on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Food just makes me happy, and he makes
It
me happy,
does.
and he's funny, and
He's not PG, just for those of you who are
right.
wondering. But Sam the Cooking Guy, look him up on YouTube. Very entertaining.
Like, if I was to have a cooking show, I wish my alter ego would be Sam the Cooking Guy.
Oh, dude, you would rock it. You would so rock it.
But I think I'm like a little too concerned. Like, am I going to hurt somebody's feelings, or, what if they don't like that type of cheese? I should probably do the type of cheese everybody would like.
Yeah.
I get a little too much in my head sometimes.
Oh,
but my alter ego, being a
Sure.
Gemini, like my alter ego is like, this is what I like. This is what I'm going to do. This is how it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get to see some of that sometimes.
Oh, a little bit. I'll tell you what, though, if you were to start a cooking channel, Katie bar the door, I think it would explode. I mean, you kind of already have a cooking channel a little bit.
Sort of.
Speaking of cooking, how's the cookbook coming?
I've not done anything.
You've not really done anything?
No.
You've got a list. You've got an idea. Like,
yes, I've got a few recipes written down, but I always say to you, hey, and we could write this one down. And it's just a thought.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's time to start putting pen to paper.
It is, but at the same time, like you said, it's one of those things where like everything just feels hazed by what's going on.
Yeah.
that
Like, I don't know, I'm on struggle train about it.
But you have been able to pull out of it and do some exercising and things like that. And
Yeah.
so it's just going to be the same thing. We're all going to have to.
That eventually I'll roll into it. Like I'll feel the desire to be creative again. Whereas right now I'm like, I just feel like I need to maintain what I need to do to get by.
No, I get it. And there's no pressure. You got to do it when you're inspired. Otherwise,
It won't be good.
it'll weigh you down.
But anyway, so Sam has been life to us. I've cooked a few of his recipes lately too. So
Oh, what was the one we had tonight?
we had his I forget what exactly he calls his, but like carbonara. So it's bacon and noodles. Well, he uses pancetta, but you can use bacon. Any type of fatty meat. So I used bacon and then spaghetti noodles, and then you mix Parmesan cheese with eggs, and then you mix all of that together.
Wow. It was delicious.
It was
divine.
decadent.
Like, I want to go get a bowl of it right now. Oh,
There's definitely leftovers.
man, we're going to have to pause the show.
Why?
It's time for a snack.
I was like, why?
People won't mind if I just smack my lips right in the microphone with them.
Well, I thought about bringing my candy in because I like candy and a drink.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I figured that probably wouldn't go over so well.
We've
so.
been stress eating a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little. We did definitely the first few days this all started
Yeah.
really happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in the last 3 days I've kind of come over this hump where I'm like, okay, rein it in.
Yeah.
This is not benefiting you.
Yeah. That's true.
But I still have.
Have our moments.
Yeah.
That's
well,
okay.
I still have my luxuries. Like,
Sure.
There's no problem having candy. Just don't eat the whole dang bag.
That's true.
You can have whiskey. Just don't drink the whole bottle.
That's it. It's all in moderation, right?
Right.
That's true. All right. It's time for the intro.
Oh, okay. Go
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome, travelers, overlanders, weekend warriors, and daily commuters to Campfire Confessions. We are your hosts, Kevin
And Sarah.
McHouston of Lifestyle Overland, a husband and wife duo who travels North America and the world with our daughter Caroline. This podcast, or Fireside Chat, is about us, our travels, our stories, and lessons learned while living a lifestyle a bit outside the ordinary. So, go ahead and pull up a camp chair, a log, or a very large rock around the fire ring here. And as you know, before we get started, we just need to stoke up this fire for a bit of warmth and ambiance. Oh, there it is.
Now that people are really going to know that there isn't one.
They just can close their eyes and imagine. Just close your eyes and imagine. Yeah. We want to take a moment to thank the sponsors of the show. That's right. These are the folks who keep the wind in our sails, our patrons. These fine folks are listeners, subscribers, and followers like yourself who keep the fuel coming and the adventure rolling. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Indeed.
Absolutely. So, tonight's topic is one that people have been begging for quite some time, and that is the camp kitchen.
Where the magic happens.
That's it. That's it. Because really, overlanding is really not about the destination. It's not so much about how you get there. It's really all about the amazing food you eat in incredible places.
So true.
They don't realize that.
Like the funny
But
thing
that's
is you'll ask me, Sarah, don't you remember this trail? I'm like, no, what we eat for lunch when we stop? Like,
That's very true. Like we
did
do
we
that.
schmorgy here, or was it like turkey sandwiches?
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, remember that place where we had the chili? Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
That's it.
Like I still remember the very first time I made my simmering Thai curry soup.
Mm,
Do you remember where we were?
yeah.
No, you don't.
The simmering Thai curry.
The very first time I made it. We were camped right outside of, I believe it was Whitehorse on this lake. And it's where we got to see, it like rained, it like drizzled a little bit. And we got to walk down this long road. It's where we also met the couple that had come back from the Dempster and they were in that teardrop
Oh
kind
yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
And Caroline
oh, yeah.
was best friends with them and their dog.
Right. And like the
And we
eagles.
saw the eagles.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
See, I remember there because that's the first time I made it. And I was like, I'm a master chef.
Oh man, that stuff is so good.
It was so good. I haven't made it in a really, like, probably since we've been on the trail.
It's such a unique flavor too.
Yeah, it's so easy to. Why is it that food is what creates the environment or how you remember things?
Well, I think it's all the senses. You know, you remember, you know, the smell of the tundra. You remember the smell of the snow at Adigan Pass. Like,
Yeah.
there's smells that go into that, and then you start throwing food into it, and especially good food like yours. I mean, we are not doing the whole chili dog thing,
Right.
And beanies and weenies. Like, this is a freaking gourmet meal
Mm-hmm.
out here in the middle of nowhere, and it takes the experience, and it brings the level of comfort. I think it's like the feeling of home.
Yeah.
Like, you're not eating just survival food. Like, you're thriving
Right.
in this environment, and it's
And
beautiful.
trying new things. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it just expands upon the whole experience.
Yeah. Well, and I think also, you know, the idea that food always brings people together, and us being from the South, like, you really don't go to someone's house empty-handed.
Yeah.
Like, you bring chips and dip, or you bring brownies, or you kind of, you don't get together to not just, hey, let's get together over dinner. Let's have a beer. Let's have coffee. Like, people don't get together just to meet. Like,
Yeah.
they have to have some kind of central.
Yeah, if you're getting together, especially in the South, you're going to be eating something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Or there will be some sort of snack.
Yeah, so that comes honest. I mean, that's just our background.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it brings people together. It really does. So, what got you cooking to start with? Can you remember like the first things that you cooked consistently and
Oh, yeah.
okay, what was it?
Spaghetti.
Okay,
I remember my sister and I don't know how old I was, maybe like 12-ish, 11, 12-ish, you know? And mom being like, all right, y'all need to learn how to cook something. And I have an older sister. She's 18 months older than me. And so my mom was like, you're going to make the spaghetti tonight. And granted, our spaghetti growing up was a pound of ground beef, probably whatever was on sale, a can of Hunt's spaghetti sauce, like the classic, because our family was not very adventurous. And it was 99 cents or whatever it was back then, probably 69 cents back then. And then a box or half a box of spaghetti noodles.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was spaghetti. Sometimes we went crazy and had garlic bread, but
Ooh.
not always. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, I feel like that was the first meal I made. I'm sure mom probably taught me how to make scrambled eggs and toast in the toaster or whatever at some point in time. But I specifically remember that memory. Like, it's playing on a screen in my head.
Now, did you do a lot of cooking when you moved out and had roommates and stuff?
There was this brief time when I was in high school where, my dad had lost his job and was working odd and end jobs, and my mom had gone to work, and I was previously homeschooled and had gone to public school. And there were times where, I was getting home and me and my sister were usually making dinner because mom didn't get home till 5:36 and then dad would get home after. So I feel like there's this brief period in time where 2 to 3 times a week we were at least making dinner. But then graduating high school and going into college, honestly, I don't think I really truly cooked that much because I worked at a restaurant. And so anytime I worked a shift, I usually came home with food and usually tried to have leftovers with it. So really, truly, do you because we were dating right when I got into college.
Right.
So I don't think
so.
no, not really.
Now, when we did cook, it was usually pretty doggone good stuff.
Yeah, we did chicken Alfredo was one of our usuals.
Yeah.
Steak and baked potatoes.
Of course.
Or whatever, but and maybe spaghetti.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing chicken pot pies or chili or really much of anything.
Well, it was
usually you grilled and I made a side.
That's true. And we did some pork chops and things like that.
Yeah, right, right.
So veggies and a meat is kind of what we did.
Kind of basic, yeah.
What would you say to someone who's intimidated by cooking, especially out camping?
Just pick a recipe and give it a try. If it's got 5 to 8 ingredients, that's good. That's not too much for you to do. You can handle that. But that's after we got married and I was convinced I had to be Betty Homemaker, my mom bought me a cookbook, a Southern Living cookbook or something. I still have it somewhere. And it was pretty basic recipes. And I remember I would just start picking 2 to 3 things a week that I made. There were some winners and there were some losers. But it's not always my fault if they're losers. Sometimes they're just bad recipes.
Well, that's true. I mean, and I can remember that, especially when we moved to New Mexico and you were at home, Pinterest was really big at that point.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's when I got real creative with cooking.
And I mean, every time I'd come home, you had something else cooked up from Pinterest, and generally it was pretty good. Okay.
And then who did I meet?
Who did you meet?
The Pioneer Woman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On Food Network.
If you had asked me who you started watching, I would have nailed it. But yeah. I guess in your head, you feel like you.
I've met her.
You've cooked with her before.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have made so many of her recipes.
Yeah.
That it's gotten to the point where if you're what are you making? I'm oh, yada, yada. And you're I don't know. You just seem a little skeptical. The second I say it's a Pioneer Woman recipe, you're all right, it's going to be great.
Oh, dude, you knew.
It's going to be fine.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Such good food.
And I feel like if you're looking for somewhere to start where food is going to be fresh or homemade tasting, you can't go wrong with her. And her stuff is rarely ever very complicated.
Sure.
So look for a Pioneer Woman cookbook.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with anything she does. Her cinnamon rolls, heaven help.
Mm. Well, honestly, in this day and age, especially with YouTube and stuff, there's no reason to not learn how to do, a lot of things, but especially cooking.
Right.
There's a lot of great channels out there that you can follow.
Well, even with Sam the cooking guy, his stuff ingredient list is probably 10 or less.
Oh yeah.
Vast majority of the time.
Yeah, it's simple stuff.
And you can always find shortcuts. Buy a rotisserie chicken if you don't want to cook your own chicken. There are people who don't like to touch raw meat. I get it. So there's loopholes.
So when we started camping, what were some of the things that we ate?
I was terrified. I was
really?
I don't know what to cook in nature.
Right.
So we did hot dogs and chili, mostly grilled things like chicken or pork chops or steak, or I did do mashed potatoes or asparagus and canned vegetables and things like that. But I wouldn't say I got super creative until we went full time, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's best of my memory. It seems like if we went for a weekend, the first night would always be hot dogs and chili because it's easy.
Yeah, and if we got there late,
and then the next night would usually be steaks and a veggie.
Yeah.
And then if we were there a third night, it would be hamburgers.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
That was a pretty typical evolution of what we would do.
Mm-hmm. And we usually had bacon and eggs, or eggs and toast, or pancakes,
right?
Oatmeal,
very simple things.
Yeah,
and then it kind of evolved from there. But let's dive into the gear really quick.
Okay.
Since we're talking about actually cooking, you mentioned grilling. So the first thing that we started with was a little portable
Coleman grill.
Coleman grill.
Mhm.
And a matter of fact, we still have, it's not the same one, but it's the same model.
Yeah,
We just haven't used it in a long, long time.
right.
But it's,
Because we'd rather just cook on the turtle bag.
but it was great because, you know,
Yes.
it had its own bag. It folded down to about a 3 foot by 2 foot by 12-inch.
Well, and remember,
size.
one reason we really liked it was a split grill. And so one side actually came with a griddle
Yeah,
option,
right.
and the other side could be grilled. So like I could be making coffee on one side and pancakes and bacon on the other,
And I think
or
that's
vice versa.
I think that's something that probably bears mentioning to people who are trying to outfit is, if you can at all, get a stove that has 2 burners,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're going to be cooking something and it's going to be cooling while you do the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So a 2 burner is probably to have a good meal. And it's you know, we get into that discussion, need versus want,
Right.
but you're going to be happier having 2 burners at that point. But yeah, that grill was amazing. Honestly, I kind of miss it. I miss having a grill because a lot of the stuff that we do now, or all the stuff that we do now, is on a stove. But after the grill, we went to the I found a 1970 brand new Coleman, just the classic white gas Coleman stove,
Mm-hmm.
and we used that for a bit, just for the
A
nostalgia
few
feel.
times, but yeah, it wasn't super reliable. So I'm like, let me just do it on the grill.
Oh, right. And, yeah, we usually had both with us actually,
Right.
because I was just like,
You were insistent to make this work.
I wanted to go retro. I wanted to have
I
that
know.
retro
You did.
camping experience, and we cooked some good stuff on it.
Yeah, but I remember maybe using it 3 times.
Maybe so.
I feel like I made
Yeah.
you kind of give up that dream.
Yeah. Usually I would be over there lighting it, and I turn around and she's already cooking
I'm
on
already-
the grill.
yeah.
Babe, I got this. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just trying to be nostalgic and retro and cool, and
And usually you would think that I would have gone for that.
yeah. But in the
'Cause,
morning, you're like, "Give me my coffee."
Yes. And my breakfast, because
Now.
I wake up I wake up hungry.
You do. So I don't blame you there.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
the turtleback came into existence.
But when we first got it, that was a different stove.
I know that was the Atwood that was very low BTUs, and if the wind was even partially blowing, it was really hard to cook on.
Yeah. But it was still fine.
It was still a step up,
Right.
but
We still took the Coleman grill often with us.
well,
still
yeah,
at
we
that time,
had
too.
with the trailer, we had all kinds of room on the roof rack at that point. So it's
So we're like, well, throw
why
it up there.
not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Especially if we went with a bunch of people, then we could like all grill steaks or hamburgers and stuff. Remember? Because
Yeah, and in those days,
back in the day when we used to go with a lot of people.
yeah, we used to go with 4 or 5 families sometimes,
Uh-huh.
and so and it was more of a potluck evolution
Yes.
than what we do now, where generally it's everyone fend for themselves and gather around the fire.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like, oh,
Hey,
who's
we're
got-
doing burgers this night. You do
Yeah.
this, and that, and
yeah,
that.
and that was fun.
It was.
And that was fun.
But yeah, then we went to the partner steel stove.
I mean, I already knew that was a better stove because I'd seen other turtlebacks and stuff with them and people camping with them, and boy, that first time using it,
Dude.
we were both just blown away. Like
It was
dual
awesome.
10,000 BTU burners. I mean, you turn that thing on. If you turn it on high, it sounds like a jet engine.
Yes.
And my first concern was, oh, dude, this thing is just going to be sucking gas so fast.
No.
But it wasn't the case at all.
Uh-uh.
Like they have the perfect balance of like economy and output on those things. That it is, and I can say this to date, it is the best stove that we've used so far.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love cooking on it to the point where like sometimes when I have to cook on my electric flat top stove in the house, I'm like, why am I even doing this?
Yeah, let's go crank up the turtleback.
I should.
Yeah. Well, the secret sauce to that stove is the partner griddle.
Right.
That right there, that quick cooking service.
But
has been a
it
game
took me a
changer.
little while to get used to it because I was very much in the frame of mind that I was like, always want the access to
Mhm.
2 burners. I want to do this on this and that on that. And so it took me a little while to come around to it. But now, I mean, truthfully, I probably cook or have cooked 80% of every meal on that thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unless I need to boil something
Yeah,
or make soup.
well, it's perfect for bacon and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
We've cooked steaks on it.
Yep.
We've cooked chicken on it. We've cooked I mean,
pork,
your hash, you have
my
an
hash,
amazing hash
yes.
that you cook on it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's, a lot of people cook, they're big on the Timbo Tusk,
Mm-hmm.
Skittle, whatever. I always say it
Disc
wrong.
thing.
The disc cooking thing,
Right.
and they're all about them. They absolutely love them. And this is what I would say is comparable,
Mm-hmm.
except it's a flat surface. And
It's
it's bomb
amazing.
diggity.
Yeah.
It's absolutely awesome.
It's so good.
Now I do have a package right now in the living room that was sent to me by Camp Chef, and they have a new, what I would say, probably the closest thing on the market that's comparable to the partner still.
Okay.
Just looking at the specs and things.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're here, and not going anywhere for a while, I'm gonna do an unboxing and test it, and we can cook on it and see how it does as well. But that might be a more affordable option, a more available option, because that is the only downside to the partners is they're hard to find and they're not cheap.
No.
I was actually so impressed with them that it's probably about a year ago. I emailed them and I said, "Look, I manage social media for a lot of different companies and stuff, and I really feel like you're under marketing yourself. You have the best stove out there." And they said,
That's okay.
"That's okay. We don't want to sell more. We're actually a steel fabrication company. We're not a stove making company. We make stoves to fill between jobs, and we're not interested in selling more." And so I was a bit disappointed, but
You were. You always want everyone to grow.
I do. I
Whereas I'm like, no, babe, it's fine. If that's really where they want to be, that's okay.
No,
and you're
I
like,
get it.
no, everyone must grow.
Well, I knew it was a great product, and I wanted
Sure.
to help them, and they politely refused.
They very
my
politely
help.
said
Yeah.
no thanks.
Yeah. So anyhow, we're going to be testing that one, so that might be more of an available product for other people. And Rabbit Trail side note, we're going to be doing a lot of different brands and stuff in the future. I found myself being locked into some stuff just because that's the way I've always done it,
Right.
and it works for me.
But
It's not really doing the best service to our viewers for us to just be stuck in this one product line. And so you're going to see some more stuff coming in, going out. And it's not that what we're using is bad. It's just we want to share multiple perspectives on different ways of doing things. So,
Right.
All right, back on track again.
So along with the grills, we talked about the griddle. So other pots and pans that I have found to be necessary in our kitchen is I need at least one soup pot or stock pot is what it's traditionally called. And then maybe one or two other like skillets, like say, I'm just frying a couple eggs for egg sandwiches and have coffee on the other eye cooking. So I at least like one, maybe two skillets for an option. And then 1 quart to 2 quart saucepan for like rice or boiling potatoes or warming up canned vegetables and things like that.
Right.
And then another thing a lot of people don't think about having in their camp kitchen is a colander.
Oh, yeah.
Or a strainer. A lot of people, every time I whip that thing out to drain something, everyone's like, I need one of those in my camp kitchen. I'm like, you mean you don't have one? And they're like, no, we just kind of halfway strain the noodles with some of them slipping out.
Well, that's the thing is pasta is the gateway to so many meals.
Well, my thing is I use canned beans. I'm not buying dried beans for the trail.
Right.
And so I always like to rinse them out before I dump them into soups or whatever else. And so that's initially when we were prepping to go full time and I put that in there. I think even you were like, why do you have that? I'm like, for noodles and beans or heck, if you even want to wash fruits and vegetables. I'm the worst about that. I'll be totally honest.
We've eaten so many pesticides.
Probably. We really probably have. But anyway, so definitely a colander. And then plates, bowls. Our method is I preferred having more plates than bowls. So we just have 4 bowls and then we have 6 plates because you always need something to when you're prepping, putting things on there and everything. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or when you're done, you're like pulling things off, put it on the plate, then you can start cooking something else.
Right.
But for me, those are essential pots and pans for my camp kitchen.
Right. And we get a ton of questions about that camp gear, the kitchen gear especially. So just a real quick plug, if you go to amazon.com/shop/lifestyle overland, that'll take you to our store. And we're in the process of populating a lot of those things, but that camp kitchen stuff is in there, and you can see all the stuff that we use, because it took us a while to land on some things that we really wanted. Now, the pots and pans right out of the gate we're pretty satisfied with. But it was the plates. Like, we had plastic plates. And let me tell you, plastic and like greasy food and trying to wash it in lukewarm water at camp doesn't work, because you either have to use so much liquid soap that now you're having a hard time getting that off.
Well, my biggest thing is like how you can score plastic plates. Like if we're cutting steak and stuff like that, like after a while it's like, are you really clean down in there?
Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah, that's it. And so we started with, I think it was a GSI kit, that came in like the bag, and it had these little cups.
Plates and bowls and cups.
And that was fine. I guess it bears mentioning, too, that we were just like everyone else when we first started, and we usually had a big old stack of paper plates and a big old roll of paper towels and some red Solo cups. Like, you grow up doing that. That's the picnic thing.
Right.
And you don't realize, and it one day it just started dawning on us as we were outdoors more and appreciating the outdoors more and more, that we started looking at how we were going about certain things. And we were like, oh my gosh, look at this bag of trash that we're bringing out of here.
Right. That was our biggest thing. Is I remember, like, for a weekend, sometimes we were coming out with 2 bags of trash.
Right. Well, you figure 3 people, 3 meals a day, 9 paper plates, some plastic forks, like all of that was just adding up ridiculously fast. And we're like, I feel bad. Like, let's back off of this. And so that was the first step, was going to the plates. And we went to the plastic plates, and those were okay for a while. And then we were like, something's got to give. These aren't going to.
We got to find an
These are
alternative.
going to last the way that we want. And then we stumbled on. Don't quote me on this. You can look on the store, but I think it's MSI. They have stainless 9-inch flat plates, and dude, those are the ticket. Now, caveat to that, if you put something stinking hot on it,
I was about to say that,
you better have a towel under it or something like that. But other than that, you can just hammer down on a tough steak and not have to worry about scoring that thing to death.
Yeah, I love them so much.
Yeah, and then we found the bowls.
Yes, to match.
Absolutely. So the stainless bowls, the stainless plates make a big difference.
Yeah.
And they're
really,
really
so easy to clean.
And they're thin and they're lightweight. They're probably lighter than the enamelware that a lot of people run. But don't get me wrong,
that's a classic vintage look.
Enamelware is Instagram worthy stuff, but
right.
We've been really happy with the stainless plates that we've got, and they travel well. They, even with the rattling and stuff, with rough trails and stuff like that, they take it like a champ.
Oh, yeah.
So they've been amazing.
So along those lines, another thing that we improved on too was how we carried and consumed water. Right. So in the beginning, we were taking like gallon jugs, or we were taking like a case of water bottles. That's really where we started.
That's where we started.
Was taking a case of 24 water bottles.
Big old case of water bottles. Yeah.
And then we were like, that's a lot of trash. Okay, let's buy cups and take gallon jugs of water. And so we each got to pick our own color of Contigo stainless steel cups. And then did the gallon jugs. And then just recently, I decided that we were going to start buying 5-gallon jugs of water. And I found this awesome little USB charged water pump. And it was like $24 on Amazon. And you push the top button and it turns on a pump and it squirts the water out, and you push the button again and it turns it off. And so we, for the first time last weekend, 2 weekends ago, we took it with us and just had it nestled in the storage compartment of the turtleback, never dumped over or anything like that. And it was
so nice.
It was primo.
It was and honestly, I drank more water because I wasn't having to dig out a gallon jug again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like the progression from the water bottles to the gallon jug, that reduced the footprint
Right.
pretty significantly because we would even refill the gallon jugs and stuff.
Yeah.
But to go to the 5 gallon where you just take it in and thump, you throw it in the exchange thing, you grab
Get a
another
new
one,
one.
and you're on your way. So that's been a game changer. And,
Yeah,
and we're
for
drinking
sure.
we're drinking water so much more often now at this point too. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I kind of drink water like a camel anyway.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was drinking a whole gallon to myself most days.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
and speaking of which, let me run down a quick little rabbit trail when we're talking about this. When we went to Alaska, people ask, why aren't you drinking out of the turtleback? Like you've got 48 gallons of water in there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about that is, yes, in an emergency situation,
We did.
We did,
Mm-hmm.
and we will. But the water that we put in there comes from many different sources that we can't control. So if we have the opportunity to reduce our exposure to different water sources and what may or may not be in there,
Right.
all the better. So the water in the turtleback is for washing dishes, brushing our teeth, taking a shower, like minimal exposure kind of stuff.
I mean, even like when I would boil things,
Right.
I used turtleback water. I didn't use our bottled water.
Right.
But I knew I was boiling it.
Exactly. So it was just like a little extra step. But what we did is we took you saw in the video where we were washing the mud off of the trailer. That was a little sump pump that we had taken where we could plug it into our inverter. But the secondary step to that is if we needed drinking water, we had the Life Straw. I think it's called the Mission, and it's like a 12 or 16 liter bag that you fill up and you hang up, and then there's a filter that you plug on the bottom of it. And we just recently,
We did.
with all the stuff that's going on, there were no bottles to exchange at the grocery stores. So we strapped that thing up in the double wide here and processed our well water, because while we, again, would drink it, we don't know the source, and it smells really sulfury because we are in oil field country here. And so more of us just being water snobs, it was nice to,
we are a little bit.
we are a little bit. It was nice to filter that down, and it tastes great. So we have 3 5-gallon jugs in there, just slap full now. So yeah. I just bring that up because as you're building out your water kit, you may consider having some sort of filtration system if you were to get in a position where you needed extra water.
And we keep saying we're going to put a filtration system on the turtleback. It's just one of those things that it's on the list of things to do that we just haven't gotten to yet.
Sure. And Keith has actually done that on his. So he put in...
Because they drink out of theirs.
They do. Oh, they...
and we were always like, you guys drink out of your
But they
trailer?
always fill
but
up...
they only fill up at home.
They only fill up at their own house. Yeah. And... but no, he put a UV filter on there. And it's pretty high tech. It's about $700. It's not cheap. But looking back, it'd be nice to have that on the turtleback right now as well. So yeah, as you build out your kitchen kit, water is very much a part of that whole process. So think through how you're going to carry it, how you may need to filter it. And another pro tip, throw a couple of the Life Straw, just the straws, in your little survival kit there, because those are good to have as well, because you can just stick it down in a stream or a bucket if you absolutely needed to. But yeah. That's our water evolution.
So now can we talk about something that is really near and dear to my heart?
What's near and dear to your heart?
I love meal prepping.
Yeah, you do.
And I love meal planning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the only way for me to not spend a fortune at the grocery store and not have to go 2 to 3 times a week, I began meal planning a long time ago. Really after Caroline was born, because I was legit a stay-at-home mom at that point. Like before I was working, so I had an income, you had an income, we went out to eat a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place for that. But so meal planning and meal prepping has really, 1, saved a lot of money. 2, it also helps me know, okay, the baby didn't take a nap today. I've got to get food on the table. What's on Tuesday? Oh, it's chicken thighs with mushroom gravy and rice and green beans tonight. You know, I love food anyway. I was the child when I was little. My mom has told me stories where I would wake up in the morning and be like, Mom, what's for breakfast? Right after I finished breakfast, hey, Mom, what's for dinner tonight? And she'd be like, I don't even know yet. Just go play, you know? So
You are a creature of habit.
I am.
Like, you have a routine, and if that routine gets snagged in any way, it ruins your day.
It does. And I have to like mourn the loss of it for a little bit. And
Right.
then I can sometimes recoup and pull myself together. But
Sometimes. Yeah.
sometimes it's not
Yeah.
very often. But honestly, so long as I can keep my food the same or what I have originally planned, then it doesn't really matter what's happened. Like there have been many a times where you're like, well, maybe we'll go do this. I'm like, well, that's during the lunchtime. We can't do it during lunchtime. Like, and I'm also the type that no matter what the time zone is if the clock says 12 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock, it's lunchtime. Doesn't matter what my stomach might be used to.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I love meal planning and meal prepping. So I feel like for me, that is what can allow creativity. Sometimes you do get in ruts with it. You know, like Taco Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll have spaghetti. You know, like every week is kind of the same.
So let me stop you there. How do you come up with your ideas? So if I was to say, hey, we're going to go on a camping trip for 5 days, what's your first step? What are you going to do? I mean, let's rewind, because you kind of have a lot of ideas already in your head. But
Sure.
But back in the day, where would you go? What resources would you use to start planning a camping trip meal setup?
Well, like you said before, we kind of had the same 3 to 4 meals. And then when we kind of started getting bored of that, I went to cookbooks. I found Pinterest wasn't that reliable for a while there.
Yeah.
I went through a season where I had a lot of duds. Or
I think the trolls found their way to Pinterest at one point.
I guess, and really put in some
They jacked some
beautiful
stuff up.
pictures, but some wrong recipes. Okay. So I kind of quit on that and went to the tried and true.
Yeah.
And so one thing I started doing is I love to read cookbooks like they're novels. And so I would pick probably a Pioneer Woman cookbook because I have a lot of those. And I would be like, okay, I want to pick one new recipe to cook this week. So we can still do our steak night and we can still do hamburgers, but on this night, we're going to do something different.
Right.
And usually it was, I wanted a different protein because I don't want to do beef, you know? Whereas,
I'm okay with that, though.
see, I am now that I've tried another form of cooking.
Sure.
But at the time I thought, oh no, we need to have a different protein every night. We had beef one night, pork one night, chicken one night, maybe vegetarian if I can get that by, you know.
Right.
Breakfast one night, you know, kind of thing. So usually I would just go to my cookbooks and I would pick one new recipe. And the key to that too is, one, I had time being a stay-at-home mom, that when I knew we were going to go camping, I would start to maybe pre-cook some of the things before we left. So, or like go ahead and chop vegetables, go ahead and cook the meat that needed to go in something so that when it came around to it, it wasn't taking forever to put dinner together.
And back in the day when you had a vacuum sealer, you would have stuff mixed in with the marinades.
Yeah.
And it's just like in a packet, and you just flop that out onto the on the griddle.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's ways to make it easy.
There is, yeah. If you really are planning ahead and looking, I mean, you could even like spend a weekend and make camp meals with your vacuum sealer and freeze them. And then, hey, we're going camping this weekend. Okay, babe. And pull your things out, you know, order your stuff online now, pick it up on your way out of town. Boom.
Well, that's it. Yeah. That's the way to do that.
Yeah. So on a rainy weekend when you didn't go camping, you could vacuum seal and prep your stuff. Vacuum seals are not that expensive online anymore, people.
Oh, no, they're not that bad. So how has the Snowmaster worked out for you as far as, you know, we have the 67 liter. How many days of food could you actually put in that?
First of all, everyone should just have that size. I mean, we're a tiny little family of 3, and
Right.
we have. Isn't that the next to biggest one?
No,
Isn't
no,
there
no,
one
no, no.
bigger?
I think they have a 95 liter now.
Oh, good
Yeah, it's like the
gracious.
whole back of a Forerunner.
No, that's excessive. If I was feeding an army, maybe.
Right.
But no, this has been the perfect size for us because we've even had moments where we've made the smaller compartment a freezer because we wanted ice cream or we wanted ice for drinks because it was a hot weekend
Right.
or something
Mhm.
like that. And it is the perfect size, and I have a specific way that I pack it, and like I don't let you touch the fridge.
Pretty
Like you
much.
tried to pack it one time for like if you're going on a trip, you know, do whatever you want.
Right.
But if I'm going to be there,
And I do.
there was one. I remember there's one time in Valdez, we had stopped to get groceries, and we had to do it for some reason kind of quickly. I can't remember why.
Yeah, we were with Live Work
Live Work
Wonder
Wonder.
and Jessica and Jorge. And
Yeah.
I think we were just trying to go find camp before dark or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And so I remember you were helping me unload groceries, but I didn't want you to put groceries away in the pantry because I watched you and you were doing it wrong. And you're like, well, I'll go do the fridge. And I'm like, okay. And then halfway through, I'm like, no, I don't want you to do the fridge either. So it was just one of those things where I'm like, can you just stand there and look pretty? And like, go, tame Caroline and I'll take care of this. But yeah, the Snowmaster fridge has been impeccable.
It's been the best setup we've run for a long time.
It really, really has.
Yeah.
Like it's been like I have had maybe 7 days, maybe 10 days worth of food in there.
Depending on what you pack, yeah.
Right. So like for example, on the smaller side, on the lower compartment is where I would put all of my meat.
Mhm.
So like bacon, not usually lunch meat, but like bacon, ground beef, chicken, anything. So that if it leaked, it only leaked on each other or onto the
Right.
bottom of it.
Yeah.
It didn't get on anything else. And then usually the top of that section was lunch meat and then condiments and anything else, cheese, yogurts and stuff like that for Caroline.
Right.
And then in the big compartment was usually, we didn't do a lot of superfluous things. Like I did not buy orange juice. Caroline, we would let her have Capri Suns and things like that because we would have beer or something in there.
Right.
Like so if we were going to
We
have
all had our little treat drinks
Right.
we throw in every now and then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But usually it was like milk, eggs, maybe like soy sauce or some other kind of condiment and things like that.
Yeah.
And usually that had like my vegetables and if I had fruit to go in there or something like that. But
Right.
usually anything that was really tall would go in that compartment.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the Snowmaster, I love it. I
Yeah, it's-
absolutely love it.
It's been a game changer.
Yeah.
Any fridge is a game changer, but then that one definitely stepped
Yes.
up the whole
Everything
shooting match.
stays the right temperature.
Right.
So along with food, one of my favorite things about traveling is I loved grocery shopping.
Yeah, you've had some different experiences, haven't you?
Yes. Like, so Costa Rica was fine. I liked grocery shopping there. It was a little more challenging because everything was in Spanish. Luckily, I kind of knew the Spanish words for the things that I needed
Right.
for the most part. But when we were in Canada, things were in French or English.
Mhm.
And so it was very easy to grocery shop there. But they also had super interesting things or combinations of things. And so it was really like, there were just times where I think the first time I was really like, oh my gosh, what's it going to be like grocery shopping in a foreign land? It's not a foreign land. But it was
Canada wasn't. Yeah.
no, but it was just fascinating. Like you went into their equivalent of their Walmart because I found I didn't like shopping at Walmarts in Canada. I
Right.
liked their version better.
And what was it? What was it called? Was it Canada Tire or something? Like we didn't even know it was a grocery store.
I don't remember.
It was named something that made you think it was like an auto parts store.
Yeah. Well, we shopped at one of those one time, but I shopped at a different one the other time. It was almost like a Target.
Oh, okay.
Like they had super cute clothes and I wanted to just shop. But anyway, I remember I was going to go and pick eggs, and they had quail eggs.
What?
You don't go into grocery stores in the United States very easily and find
Right.
quail eggs.
Right.
I don't even know if you went into Whole Foods if you would find quail eggs.
Maybe not.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You
Yeah.
can leave that in the comments.
Right.
I don't have a Whole Foods in my town,
Maybe
so I don't shop
AJ's
there.
Fine Foods in Phoenix or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But like this was like right next to your classic white eggs. And then your farm fresh brown eggs and then organic eggs. And then there's these tiny, beautiful little quail eggs. Like I just remember being like, Kevin, there's quail eggs here. You know? And you know, like buying cans of vegetables and buying it based on the picture because it was in French. You know, like I remember buying corn and it had an English label on one side, you spin it around and it had a French label on the
that's
other
so cool.
side.
That's crazy.
So I remember grocery shopping in Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we went to that teeny tiny little grocery store down there?
Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, Kevin, I saw a can of spaghetti sauce for $8.
Oh yeah, the prices up there were much different.
Yeah.
At least the exchange rate was in our favor at that time.
Yeah, for the most part. But that's also like, that's Jasper. Like that's a very huge touristy place.
Oh yeah,
They have every right to jack up the price, you know?
It'd be like going to Sedona or something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah. And trying to grocery shop.
Sure.
But and then I remember grocery shopping in Whitehorse and you know stuff like that.
What was the strangest shopping experience that you've had?
Inuvik.
Inuvik?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Because it's like it had a Sears or
so there was like the grocery store, and in between it there was like this
little food court.
little fast food court, tiny little food court.
It was a Pizza Hut and KFC.
And then there was like
that.
3 snowmobiles, and then like a place to sit and eat your food, and then it was like clothes.
Yeah.
I would say that was pretty unique.
Uh-huh.
I will, although Tuktoyaktuk, did you go in the grocery store at Tuktoyaktuk?
No, I went in McPherson.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
McPherson was pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
But it's basically like this steel structure.
Yeah, it looks like what we would consider a farmer's co-op.
Yes, very
like
much so.
It looks like you would pull up and buy hay and feed in there.
Right. But yeah, it's very utilitarian up there.
But they still had great options too.
Yeah.
But
Just
they were very expensive.
Oh, Lord.
Especially Tuktoyaktuk. I don't think we bought anything at the grocery store there. But I also enjoyed grocery shopping in Alaska. And I think we even went into the little store that was up in, what was Dead Horse?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think, what was a can of Spam was like $8 or something like that.
They didn't have a lot.
No.
Very much. But yeah. So even grocery shopping there. Once you started getting down towards like Anchorage, it felt very, even in Fairbanks, to be honest, felt very Americanized, you know, at that point in time. But
yeah, more civilization for sure.
But I remember seeing chips and being like, hey, y'all's chip habit needs to go down. Like a Lay's bag of family sized potato chips was $11 at one point in Fairbanks.
Yeah. Still worth it though.
No, it was not.
I love my potato chips.
But then we also started trying, remember the Alaskan kettle cooked chips?
Oh, man.
And the popcorn?
We had so many good snacks.
See,
in
those were
Canada.
affordable that we were like, okay, well, we'll try these.
Well, again, the exchange rate was in our favor, so every chance we got, we were trying something new at the gas station.
Needless to say, I gained 10 pounds.
Yeah.
But it was happy pounds.
Yeah, I couldn't see it, though.
You're so sweet.
I couldn't.
Thanks.
We were all bundled up, so.
That's true. But, yeah. So with all that being said, I think necessity is what helped me be creative, and sometimes just what was available helped me be creative. And also too, sometimes if we had a little downtime with Signal, I did go to Pinterest because I didn't have my cookbooks. And I would be like, okay, we've got to try something new. I need a new soup. And so I would look up soup recipes and then picked the one that sounded the best that I feel like I could make with less ingredients and still be delicious. Thus, my Thai curry soup is how that happened.
Oh, that was such a...
And over time, just being like, okay, I'm going to tweak this. I'm going to add lime. I want cilantro in this. And then it's going to be over rice, like, you know, kind of thing. So,
yeah. So you start with the base and then you kind of grow it to your flavor.
Right. Like I usually always follow the recipe the first time. And then the next time I change some things.
Sure.
So.
Well, that's the beauty of it, is you start with something that's close to what you really enjoy and then put your own little spin on it.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
what's just as we get towards the end of this here, what's some of your favorite recipes that we've made on the trail?
Oh, definitely the Thai curry soup that I've talked about. I love my chili. I feel like I make really bomb chili. And then I also love doing our burrito bowls. Remember the episode where I did that?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I also can tweak those bowls to kind of be anything I kind of want it to be.
Yeah.
If we've got
Right.
leftovers of something, then it's gonna go with rice and chicken.
Well, a
You know?
burrito is make it what you want.
We can do like a barbecue one and do barbecue sauce with chicken and
Right.
rice and whatever else kind of thing. So, and then camp pizza.
Oh,
That I can't believe how good that turned out.
so good. So good.
And then my hash. That was
Uh-huh.
something that I always fell on towards the end of the week where I was like, I'm going to chop up a sweet potato or white potato. We've got this and this that's left over. I'll add that and boom, we have a whole new meal and we've cleaned out the fridge.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So those are probably my top faves.
I would have to agree with those. Obviously, steak is always such a camp favorite for me. And then recently, our recreation of a cheese crystal, but with like really good savory components and stuff, so that you enjoy it too. It's not just a gut bomb, but like something that's
Right.
and that's going to be a video coming up when we went with the Epic Family Road Trip up here in Lincoln National Forest. We did a video on how to make those, and it was so freaking delicious.
Oh, so good.
We actually had them again last night. Yeah, last night, and then I had them for lunch today.
And I kind of
So
have
good.
an idea of how I could like meal prep that.
Oh, nice.
Just thinking ahead.
Okay, so continue to learn, continue to grow.
That's right.
I think we probably need to mention though, we've talked about like ideal situations.
Yeah.
We've had meals in some not so ideal situations. How did you go about coming up with those things, and what are some things you typically make when it's just either cold or windy or rainy?
Sure. So if the kitchen is well stocked and say it's super late or the weather is really bad, we usually always fell onto our smorgasbord, which is our charcuterie board.
Oh, yeah.
So we would just do cheese and crackers, sliced up, some apples, cucumbers, basically kind of anything snacky-ish that we could either eat in the car or eat in the tent. Now, for example, we decided to camp in Adigan Pass for almost three? I think it was 3 days.
Yeah.
3 solid days.
Yeah.
On our southbound, and it was snowy and very cold and like wet.
Yeah.
Like the humidity was very high. The air was very wet.
Right.
But there were things that I needed to cook so that didn't go bad. And so I remember it was almost dinner time. Caroline was complaining about being hungry. So was I. I was like, I have to go down out of the warm tent and cook dinner in the cold. And I remember, do you remember what I made that night?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
I made beef and vegetable soup.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And it was really good soup.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the only thing that I wish I had made to go with it now is corn cakes.
Oh, a little bit of cornbread.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
But that was an instance where I was like, I just have to bite the bullet.
Yeah.
And we did have the awning out over the kitchen. So, like, it was doable, but I was very cold and very wet. And I remember at one point when, like, after I'd already put everything together, I was like, okay, that needs to simmer for 20 minutes. I went up in the tent and waited for 20 minutes with the buddy heater on me.
Yeah.
And then I went back down.
Yeah.
So, for us, we always kept cheese and crackers, some kind of fruit, nuts, anything kind of charcuterie board-ish on hand, always. Because you never knew. Like, even if you were riding down the trail, like, I could just grab that stuff, chop it up while we were bouncing down the trail, and feed everybody.
Well, and that's the thing of having a light, simple, easy lunch. You're just trying to grab a few calories for the day.
Right. Get you through to dinner when you got to camp.
Get a bit of variety. And shoot, sometimes if we were on a roll, we might not have food till 2 or 2:30.
Yeah.
But
Or
then
if we got a late
and then you
start,
realize everybody's hangry. What's wrong? Oh, yeah,
Oh, we
let's
didn't
pull over
eat.
and
Yeah.
whip something up really quick.
Hmm.
So, yeah, more often than not, we would have a very basic,
Basic
very
lunch.
snacky lunch.
Or like like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like lunch was always usually like not an afterthought, but it was usually very like, let's go basic here
Yeah,
and roll on.
yeah, exactly. So it's nice having a nice meal that you can cook in a nice location, but it's also really helpful to have a bunch of different things that you can just kind of grab
Eat on the
and
roll.
eat on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should probably touch on like just the cleanup and the bareware kind of
Sure.
stuff. We get that question a lot about our travels in grizzly country and things like that. So, what was some of the steps, some of the precautions that you took while cooking and after cooking that helped us not have any significant encounters?
Yeah. I was always very careful to always have a garbage bag ready so I could like right after I finished something, I threw it away. Right after we finished eating, we cleaned up the kitchen right away and like washed, dried, put everything away, locked up the back of the turtleback, like nothing got left out. Trash either went in the car or we had that cooler, the bears
Yeah,
proof.
the International Grizzly Bear Coalition approved cooler that we
Yeah.
didn't need to buy after all.
No.
Yeah.
Because we ended up usually just putting it in the storage portion
We'd put it in the storage portion of the turtleback.
and lock it up.
Yeah.
We also there were a couple times where we actually cooked in one portion, packed up, cleaned up, drove 8 more miles, picked a camp spot, and then camped there, so that our food smells were different from our going to bed smells.
Yeah, if we had a heavy meal, especially like if we were cooking bacon or steak
Right,
or something
super
that
scented.
had a lot of scent, we would just whip into a picnic area,
Mm-hmm.
cook it up. Because that was the nice part about being up north is we had a lot of daylight to work with.
Yes.
So we could eat dinner at 6, 7 o'clock and
Drive for a
then
few
drive
hours.
till 9 or 10 o'clock at night and still have light to set up with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really handy.
But really, the key is just like, even after we wash dishes, like you would usually take the dish pan that we collected the water in, because we usually didn't let it drain down straight into the ground where we camped. And you usually went on a little mini hike
Yeah.
and dumped that dishwater out somewhere else too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all those little steps that add up. And then we intentionally didn't camp in crowded areas where we knew there would be,
Right.
Bears that were familiar with
Familiar with
humans.
going there.
We were with the wild bears
Yeah.
who mostly didn't want anything to do with us.
Yeah.
So,
So something that's very important to me
mhm.
is, yes, I wake up hungry, but I also wake up with a need for caffeine. And like you, and especially Caroline just wakes up with a song in her heart and words to say.
Uh-huh.
And you usually you'll go and film, you'll go and conversate with Caroline, you'll do a bunch of other things before you've even had coffee. Whereas like I literally roll out of the tent and go straight to the kitchen and start making coffee.
Stumble for the coffee cup.
Yeah. So we've always kind of we have over time had this coffee evolution
Yes.
of how we've ground it and made it.
Uh-huh.
And so in the very beginning, we bought ground coffee and we did the jet boil,
Mm-hmm.
which really classically is a French press.
True.
So, you have your specific jet boil brand and it
Mhm.
goes on a little propane tank, boil the water, pour the coffee in,
Really
and then
easy.
you have a little French
Really
press
quick, yeah.
top. Yeah,
Mhm.
super quick. It was great. And it was even nice for like on the trail. If we wanted an afternoon cup of coffee, we just whipped that out
Did
and
that
had
several
coffee in
times.
3 minutes,
Right. Yeah. Did that several times.
But then we decided that we were like, we kind of wanted something that was better for pictures.
Oh, well, yeah. I
Right.
mean, that and just to test
To
some
just try
different things.
something
Sure.
new. Yeah. So then we ended up getting our little red percolator, which
Right.
we used the whole time we traveled. And now that I know that there are much faster, easier ways to make coffee, I'm like, gosh, that would have been so nice.
Yeah. The percolator, what would you say? We were probably 70% satisfied with.
If even that
Maybe.
sometimes.
Like, it depended on the coffee and it depended on how long you put it. And man, as soon as you're done cooking it, it was cooling off so
So
freaking
fast.
fast.
Yeah.
Especially with our little enamel cups and stuff.
Yeah. But it was fine. My favorite thing, or I thought was one of the better steps that we made, is when I convinced you that I wanted a hand crank coffee grinder.
Right.
And you're like, well, why do you want to do that? I'm like, because you can buy whole bean coffee is way cheaper than ground coffee. And if we want it to taste fresh and we're going to take the time to percolate it, we're going to grind it. And so y'all have seen in many an episode me with my little thing. I kind of miss doing that. It was a little therapeutic.
Oh no, I totally get it. I totally get it. Cause like flash forward to like right now, and I'm all about the pour over.
Yeah, you are.
And it's not so much the taste as it is the evolution of
The methodic feeling.
well,
of
bringing
it.
the water up to boil and putting, getting the cup out and putting the funnel on it and all that kind of stuff. And then you pour the water on just enough to get the grounds wet, and then they bloom. And like you just kind of, it's just this therapeutic,
absolutely.
just to create something. And it's a moment where my mind's always racing. As soon as I get out of bed in the mornings, and so for me to have that little pause to create, this drink of coffee that may or may not be fantastic, but the whole evolution is it's like a little piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I really enjoy that. But back to our evolution.
Yeah. And so by the time we were done traveling, I was like, Kev, I'm over this percolator. I have to try something new.
Yeah.
And we had traveled with Live Work Wonder, and they always did a little mocha pot. And I was like, well, what do you do with that? She's like, I basically make a latte every day. I was like, nuh-uh. She's like, yeah, I'll make you one tomorrow morning. I was like, okay, only if you really want to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Oh, son.
That won me over. Yeah. And then I started trying different types of milks and maple syrup and honey, and I got a little fancy with it.
It was like a Starbucks. I mean, you never knew what you were going to come out with. Here, try this.
Try this, Kev.
Try this. And every one of them was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And even when it was just straight like espresso. I always call it espresso. Mm-hmm. Espresso.
It was still good.
Dude, it was so. We need to use that again.
We do. We haven't
soon.
used it in a while.
But yeah.
But then from there, we just recently started incorporating a French press again, because you had found an insulated carafe.
Vacuum insulated,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So like it will stay hot in there while we're sipping on some and cooking breakfast. We can warm it back up. Bada bing, bada boom.
Absolutely.
So I'm liking that, because all I have to do is heat up the water, pour it in. I can leave that alone while I start something else. It's ready.
It's true.
And then there's coffee.
Yeah,
so.
It's probably the least labor-intensive process that we've come across so far.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it, because I'm always looking for efficiency.
Right.
So.
Well, and the other big upgrade is going from just the standard enamel cups. Now we have like our own Topo Bear insulated mugs, dude.
Those things are unreal. Like I told you the other day, I was like, they're insulated so well that like the outside doesn't even get hot. So like, how am I supposed to warm up my cold hands on a cold camp morning?
Yeah. That's a trade-off. But your coffee stays warm for 45 minutes as opposed to 5 minutes.
Yes.
And it was so like it's scalding hot. And then as soon as it got the right temperature, you were like, go.
You had to check it.
And you would get about half of it, and then the rest of it would just be kind of cold.
Yeah.
So these new ones are really, really nice. So
they are great.
I guess this is a good moment to pause and bring up another one of our sponsors of the show. www.overlandstyle.com. That's right. Your source for all things lifestyle overland. No, seriously, we just created this new shopping experience over on Shopify. It's much better than what we were using in the past.
Oh.
And we have this whole experiential packaging thing too, where you get like, when you unbox it,
oh yeah,
you just never know.
It's
like
phenomenal.
There's creative stamps, there's handwritten notes, there's like, we want you to feel appreciated when you support us, whether you're a patron or a subscriber, or you buy a shirt or something like that.
And that's something that we've wanted for a long time.
Exactly.
We just didn't know where to start.
Oh, that's it. And so we've just finally
bit the bullet.
We bit the bullet. We stepped back and we said, okay, we want to change this whole experience. We want people to feel appreciated and and we do it all with 100% recycled packaging material
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
It's so great.
Our good friend Leah of Forerunner for Adventure over in Phoenix is managing the store for us now, and she's doing just a phenomenal job. So if you guys are curious as to where you can get a Lifestyle Overland branded
Mug, t-shirt, sweater,
t-shirts,
hat.
patches, stickers, all that good stuff, www.overlandstyle.com for your source of all things Overland.
That's right.
That's right. And sneak peek, we're actually working with some other creators to put their merch on the store as well, because guess what? They're just as busy as we are.
Yeah.
And their subscribers want so bad to buy their merch, but they don't have time.
Yep.
So we've talked to Leah, and we're like, hey,
Let's do a one-stop shop
let's do this. Let's create this trading post of Overland creator merch. So we're working towards that. It's coming together. It's pretty exciting stuff.
It's really such a great idea.
It really is.
Because like that was our issue when we went full time, is we were like, I was like, I don't want to carry this stuff around and try and mail stuff while we're like traveling full time. Like
no.
that's not part of the experience.
No. No.
So.
And huge shout out to Claire, who was managing our store before.
Oh, absolutely.
She just knocked it
just out of nowhere was like, well, I'll do it for you. And we're like, really?
Yeah, she just knocked it out of the park. But all of our merch is made in Phoenix, and so we're just trying to cut down on our costs and stuff like that. And she's gotten really busy with her other business opportunities, and so it was a good opportunity for us to shift things around. So
right.
Really excited about where it's going from here.
Absolutely.
So, anyhow, www.overlandstyle.com. Well, I don't know about you, but all this talk of food has got me really hungry. So 2 last questions.
Yes.
And then we'll wrap this up.
Okay. I'm ready.
Number 1.
Yeah.
What is your favorite kitchen item or items?
Griddle, or the stainless steel griddle that we have.
It's aluminum.
Oh, excuse me. Aluminum.
That's
right.
And let's fill people in really quick.
Okay.
Anodized aluminum. So you're not eating aluminum. I've had a lot of people say I'm going to get Alzheimer's because we cook on that, and it's not true. It's anodized. You're not contacting aluminum. Anyhow, go for it.
We're probably getting more from our deodorant than anything else.
That's okay.
But anyway, so the griddle, and then probably, the wooden tongs, the bamboo tongs.
You like those?
I like anything wooden. I like to sometimes think that I'm like a good old pioneer. So I do love using wooden spoons.
Yeah. So these are bamboo tongs.
Yes.
And they're in the store too. But they're so handy.
They're so handy. It's so nice. I love it for flipping toast, flipping bacon.
Yeah.
Like it's just
an extension of your fingers. It's what you want to be able to do.
Right.
But it's too hot
but
to do.
you really shouldn't.
Yeah. So that just replaces your fingers.
So I'd probably say the griddle in that.
Okay. Last question. What's the one thing that you feel like you're missing in your camp setup?
Okay. Well, really nothing.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm missing anything. But you have something new that you have tried. I haven't gotten to try it yet. I've only seen it in videos.
So this is a question for me that I'm asking myself.
Right, because I don't feel like I'm missing anything. But what?
Until you try it.
Right.
Right. So the episode that is going live tomorrow night debuts a product that I picked up for $36.
Wow, that's all?
Yeah. So it's a it's a Coleman cook oven. It's Coleman Camp Oven is the name of it. And it's the cheesiest construction, but it works. I mean, if you think about it, an oven, all it is a box that retains heat. That's all you're looking for.
Right.
And put that puppy on. The partner still cooked me up and Keith cooked up some cinnamon rolls.
You did biscuits the first time, right?
And then, that's true. So the day before we did biscuits with chorizo gravy, which we'll do on a episode coming up as well.
Yes.
But being able to bake something, imagine.
It would have been nice for once a month having to get to bake cookies.
Yes.
You know, like those break apart ones that you can buy. like there were times where, Caroline and I were like, it'd be so nice if we could bake something right now.
Uh-huh.
Not that I would probably realistically try to bake like chicken or anything maybe in that oven.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to experiment something while we're on quarantine.
And your sourdough that you're planning on doing, you could do
Yeah.
sourdough biscuits in there. So, yeah, we're going to play with that some more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, to answer my own question,
Right.
you don't know what you're missing.
Right. Okay.
I do.
Okay.
And it is an oven. Now, granted, I'm not going to recommend the product. I've got some ideas, for the future of that whole evolution, and I won't go into details just yet.
But it was fun to experiment with.
It really was, and it's given me some awesome ideas. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, the campfire is beginning to go get down a little low here. It's just a bunch of glowing coals and embers, and my stomach is rumbling with all these ideas of food, and all I want to do is go film Sarah cooking now.
I know. I'm kind of like, I want to go cook something.
I know. So we'll probably, get the turtle back out and film some stuff while we're in quote unquote quarantine.
I just had an idea.
Oh, did you share it? Or don't?
Well, for the oven thing?
Yeah.
Nachos.
Dude, that would be so good on the trail. Like a little cheese, a little bit of carne asada, a little bit of refried beans on top of those puppies. Whew, I love it.
And then have a bar so you can do tomatoes or lettuce or, kind of.
Well, and it also changes the campfire pizza game because now we're not having to improvise.
True. So, we'll have to retry that one now.
I know. So see, you didn't even know you were missing it.
That's true.
That's right. So exciting stuff, guys.
Yeah.
We're learning. Definitely stay tuned for more cooking episodes and stuff that we're going to be sharing on Patreon and from time to time on YouTube as well. So yeah, that wraps up
Camp Kitchen.
Camp Kitchen. Wow! I didn't realize we were going to talk for almost an hour and a half about kitchen stuff.
But I love food. I love the kitchen. That's where I thrive.
Yeah.
So
you
shouldn't have been that surprised.
Maybe not. Well, when we were discussing the idea and I was throwing out all these topics and things, you were totally silent. And so I was a little bit afraid that this is going to be a short conversation. But inside you're like, oh, dude, I've got this.
I do.
I got this.
I did.
And you did. You nailed it.
Thanks.
It was absolutely awesome. Well, once again, it was great to sit down and have a conversation with you. It's been too long.
I know.
Oh my goodness. People were like, when's the next podcast coming out? And we're like,
we
guys,
know.
we're so busy with other things and stuff. But finally, here we are.
A little downtime now.
A little bit of downtime. Well, I don't have downtime, but we're going to make a concerted effort to record more of these because we know that they really help you guys get the inside scoop, the full story. Not just a 20-minute video where you see 30 seconds of Sarah cooking, but now you have the full story of what she uses. So don't forget, if you want to see the products and stuff, Amazon.com/shop/lifestyle overland. And we'll be putting more of our gear in there as well as we go forward. We do make a small commission off of that. So if you start there, when you start outfitting your camp kitchen, even if you don't buy what's in our store, as long as you start there, it actually goes towards our commission as well. So it's a great way to build your setup as you support us.
Win-win.
Win-win-win. Thank you guys for joining us. We've had a blast. We hope you enjoy this podcast. And we will see you on the next episode.
Safe travels.
Perfect. That was so good.
That was so good.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I am hungry now.
My ears hurt now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. After a while.